Hello and welcome to Rathods Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 27th January 2025. So let's get started that discussion. So before that I want to give you a small suggestion. So students, please do watch yesterday's Republic Day parade, because based on the tableaus and based on these presentations you may get question in your prelims. So you have to be very much careful about your state related tableaus. And if you are attending this year interviews also, you may get questions regarding your state representation here in this Republic Day parade, because this year is very significant because it is 75 years of adoption of your constitution. And even students, you may expect question regarding significance of Indian constitution, why we need these constitutions, and you may also get question regarding, so if there is no constitution, can't we live? So like that you may get questions in your interview. So you have to be prepared on these areas also, because of 75th years of adoption of your constitution. And from prelims, if you are a fresher and if you are preparing for this 2025 prelims, you can expect a question regarding constitution. And especially you have to see how many parts, how many schedules, and you have to see important amendments of our constitution and how many amendments which had been happened. And even I want to share one interesting question which may be asked by one of our interview panelists is, so how many amendments we have done so far, and what is the recent amendment, so why we came up with that amendment, what is the significance of that amendment. Okay, like that you may even get questions in that area. And even if you go through your previous questions of your prelims from polity, you had number of times questions regarding amendments and what changes we made. Okay, and even from mains you may get our constitution is a living constitution, elaborate or comment or discuss. So like that also you may get a question. So you have to be very much sure about what is our constitution, and you have to be sure about which parts of our constitution borrowed from which countries. So from there also you may get question, but you have to be very much thorough with this constitution this year in your prelims. And you have to see even preamble also, because Supreme Court gave recent some judgments regarding inclusion of words in the preamble. So you have to be very careful, guys. Okay, now let us see the first article. So if you see the title, it says Republic Day shows diversity, military might. This article is very important. It is talking about Republic Day parade, but it didn't give exact information regarding which state of our country represented what. Okay, but it gave overall information about our Republic Day parade. Okay, so now let us see the context. From which subject we can see? So we can see this topic of Republic Day from GS paper to under polity point of view. So normally we can see the flag hosting every year on this Republic Day and as well as Independence Day. So can anyone tell me what is the difference between this flag hosting of Republic Day and Independence Day? So who will be hosting flag on this Independence Day? On Independence Day, Prime Minister will be hosting the flag. On this Republic Day, President will be hosting the flag. And we will be having this Republic Day parade on this Republic Day. And on that day, especially different states will be representing their own state's culture, diversity, etc. And if you know this fact, like Bihar had been represented in this Republic Day table after 8 years. So since 8 years onwards, there is no representation of Bihar, but now this year we had. So especially if you are from Bihar, you have to know about this thing. And even AP also came up with this table regarding this Ethiopia toys, and as well as this Venkateshwara Swami, like that. So see like what exactly the table of your state represented. Okay, you have to know that basic things, guys. Okay, and here especially you have to focus on the constitution. So why we will celebrate this Republic Day? Normally everyone knows that Independence Day we will celebrate because we got independence from Britishers. But many students, they don't know why we are celebrating this Republic Day. That means we adopted our constitution and this constitution came to force. So because of that, we are celebrating this Republic Day on this January 26th. Okay, and you have to know about the significance of this January 26th. So why only we'll be celebrating on this day? So there is also one more incident regarding our Congress, Indian Congress sessions, which happened before independence. So there is one important key consequence which it is going to have this date. So please let me know what is that in the comment box. Don't forget. Okay, Now here you have to know about what are the key facts regarding our Republic Day of 26 January 2025. So it is very important. So that is the thing which mainly said. And especially one important highlight of this year Republic Day is Indonesian president. He is a key guest of our Republic Day. So here why only Indonesia, and you have to see about India-Indonesia relations as well. So from that area also you may get a question, okay? And from Indonesia you have to see about map location, and you have to see what are the challenges between India and this Indonesia, and you have to see which are the areas of cooperation. All these things that you have to see, guys. Okay, now let us see this article. The Republic Day celebrations in India showcased a blend of military strength, and especially in that parade, our military people, they will be showcasing their strength, and as well as culture diversity. So culture diversity is through tables of different states, and it emphasizes 75th anniversary of our constitution and the legacy of even our tribal activist Birsa Munda. That is, we are celebrating 150th anniversary of this Birsa Munda. So here we are celebrating this and even 75th anniversary of our constitution. So because of these two events, so this year Republic Day is very, very significant, guys. Okay, so now let us see the key things which are given in this article. The first one is, yes, as I said, Indonesian president, he participated in this Republic Day and he is the chief guest, right? So because of this, we can understand that India is growing international relationship, and even we are focusing on improving of diplomatic ties between the different countries that we are showcasing here. And even this Indonesia, which is one important country which is part of ASEAN, that means if you are having your improved relations with the countries which are part of any organization, obviously India will be having its own advantage. That means India can improve its significance in this grouping entirely. So because of this, it is the one thing which mainly shows. And even India wants to be a global leader, right? So India also wants to play an important role in global stage as a leader of culture diplomacy. So in this way also, so this Indonesia will be very much helpful for India. And next one here is, now this year theme is Swarnim Bharat Virasat Aur Vikas. So actually it is focusing on rich heritage of our country, and as well as we are moving towards the path of development. So how can we connect with this? We can connect with Viksit Bharat 2047. Okay, and even you have to think in this way, like whether this Viksit Bharat 2047 is achievable or not. If achievable, how? What are the reasons behind it that you can say we are going to achieve that? If not, why? Why means you have to see here challenges. So you need to have a well balanced answer, because this is also one of the interview panel question, that is, yes, what is your opinion on Viksit Bharat 2047? Whether we are going to achieve that or not. If yes, what are your supportive arguments? If no, why? Okay, so if no, why, and even what measures can be taken will be the one, again one more question, one more supplementary question you will be getting. So whenever you are getting any statements in your newspaper which is given by our important dignitaries, so try to evaluate that statement. This is very important, guys. Okay, and next one here is recognition of historical figures. So actually, this year we are celebrating 150th anniversary of this Birsa Munda. He is one of the historical person that we have to think in our history. And next one here is, we are also focusing on educating the public about contributions of tribal leaders and as well as social reformers in our Indian history. And especially in this parade, we included not only these individuals, but also we are focusing on promoting of awareness about their roles, and as well as how they shaped our modern India. Because in whenever you're reading your modern history part, you will be also seeing about different types of peasant movements, different types of tribal movements which happened. So there you have to know about who is this Mirza Munda. So what his rebellion he started, and why he started, what are the reasons behind that. So not only about this Birsa Munda, but you have to take this tribal movements as a whole concept, and you have to see what are the important reasons for this tribal movements in India. So what are the policies of the British that led to this tribal invocation. So all these things that you have to know about. And next one here is, even this parade is very significant because overall Defense Ministry gave around 77,000 passes for the common citizens of India. That means we want to include more people in this event. So whenever you're talking about inclusive development, inclusive growth, these concepts are there, right? So even you can add this point that, so even in our Republic Day parade, so government gave passes for more than 77,000 people, so that it want to make sure that inclusive is the part of their development. And next one here is, so this broad participation which signifies is a collective national pride. And even now citizens, they are going to get an opportunity to engage with country's heritage and access democratic values. So whenever government is engaged in the citizens, then only they will be getting awareness about our culture, or else they won't, right? And next one here is the performance by 300 cultural artists. It is focusing on, it is showcasing especially our arts, our heritage, our culture. So they are the powerful tools of our culture presentation. If there is no person who is performing those arts, how can we know that, right? So that is the thing which mainly said here. So these are the highlights of our Republic Day parade. And now let us see next article, very simple. No additional funds for MGNREGA, wages delayed. Okay, so the key word here is MGNREGA. So MGNREGA is nothing but Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So this act which came up in year 2005. So under this scheme, if you see the basic features, so it is empowering Gram Sabha. And next one here is, it is also providing 100 days of guarantee, 100 days of guarantee employment. So this scheme is in rural area, not in urban areas. And they are focusing on unskilled labor, not skilled. And through this scheme, they are also going to create structures or assets in the villages. For example, they are going to build hospitals, schools, etc., roads, etc., and the cleaning purposes, sanitation, everything which comes under assets of the villages. And even this will be helpful for addressing sustainable development goals. For example, poverty, hunger, increasing of working of one standard of living of the people, and even health overall development. So all this comes under this sustainable development goals that can be achieved. And next one is, you have to see challenges. So recently we saw one challenge, that is Aadhaar enabled payment system. So nowadays here government said that if you want to get your salary, your wage, they have to link their bank account with Aadhaar. So actually there are a number of bogus cards, and even bank accounts, they are not fully working. So because of this, there are many complaints that they are not getting the wages on the time. Okay, that is one thing. And even for attendance, you are using some apps. But as you all know that this scheme is in rural area. So every rural area is not having proper internet facilities, especially remote areas, they don't have. So because of this, they are not having the proper attendance, and even there are some technical glitches in the apps. They are not scanning this fingerprint properly. So because of all these things, again, there are some issues they are facing. And now one more important challenge here is, there is lack of funds. So government is releasing less number of funds, so that people, they are not getting the wages on the time. So these are the three important technical challenges that you can talk about this MGNREGA scheme. Okay, so here you have to see about what are the measures can be taken. What are the measures, or what is the way forward? So this is your work now. And this topic is important from GS paper to under governance point of view. Okay, now let us see this article in detail. So here Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, which is our union government flagship scheme, which is providing guarantee of 100 days of employment in rural areas. Why only rural areas? Because in rural areas, always employment is seasonal. That means most of the people who are present in rural areas, their primary activity is agriculture. So in agriculture, throughout 365 days, they will not get work. Only during certain seasons like sowing, like transplanting, like harvesting. So during that time, they will be getting the work. So because of this, normally in other times, so people will be migrating from rural areas to urban areas in search of work. So to contain that, government came up with providing of asset creation work in these villages, so that entire villages they will be getting empowered. Okay, and actually this scheme which is facing lack of funds, so that here the people who are working under this MGNREGA, they are not getting proper wages. So if you see some facts regarding this scheme, so this scheme came up in year 2005 as I said, and it is guaranteeing right to work to rural citizens of India, and they are providing like 100 days of unskilled manual work. And the main objective of this scheme it is to provide employment to the rural citizens, and even they want to improve economic conditions like improving of hunger, improving of malnutrition, improving of decent living, decent livelihood, and even work, everything. And next one here is several organizations and people also played a very important role in championing this cause of right to work. Especially we had this Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sanghatan. So, so actually this is an organization that is like NGO, which mainly fought for this getting of this MG Narega. So as you all know that, so even we have ombudsmen, so which came up with this Lokayuktas and Lokpals in our country. So the same way, we have an organization behind this right to work. So whenever you're writing your answer regarding right to work and engineering, you have to include this organization introduction itself. And next one here is they took some initial efforts like organizing workers working on government drought relief program, and as well as some other activities, etc. And finally, that led to creation of this MGNREGA in 2005. So if you see some other important significance regarding MGNREGA, so you may talk about this in your mains. So in your mains, you may get a question regarding, so what are the outcomes, achievements, or like significance of the scheme. So there you can directly write these 5 to 6 points. So first one here is, as I said, it is not only providing the work in the rural areas, but even they are trying to provide some assets like infrastructure and natural resources. And even they are focusing on improving of accessibility of basic things like water, sanitation, housing, etc. And next one here is they're also focusing on compensation of income loss. So as per the study which done by this Azim Premji University across this Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh region, so even they are compensating 20 to 80% of income loss which happened during this COVID-19 lockdown. So during this COVID-19 lockdown, so people they cannot come outside to do the work. At that time, they will be having no livelihood or no income. At that time, government also compensated 20 to 80% of their income, so that they will be not having much economic problems. And next one here is, through this scheme, it also reduced migration to urban people, because most of the time here in rural areas, this work is seasonal in nature. And next one is this also tried to provide livelihood, and even it is also one of the rights based approach. That means people they have their right to live with dignity. Okay, so if they're not getting livelihood, will they live with dignity? No. So to achieve that, yes, we have this under this right based approach. And now let us see the next article. Sundarbans Bird Festival records over 150 species. So this article it is talking about Sundarbans. Sundarbans. Okay, so Sundarbans, it is important from your GS paper 3 under environment and ecology, and from GS paper 2 under, so GS paper 1 under geography. So this topic in geography will be studying under this wetlands. And one more interview panel question is, what are wetlands? How do you define wetlands? And can you name some important wetlands? They asked natural as well as artificial wetlands. And actually, unfortunately, this person came from West Bengal. And what are Sundarbans? So the next question is Sundarbans. So why the name came from? So like that, you will be getting interlinked questions in your interview for sure. So you have to be very much careful. So if you want to tackle your interview questions very good, and if you want to score more than 170, then of course you have to focus on your DAF. Apart from that, your state related current affairs is very essential, guys. Okay, and even sometimes you may get questions regarding what are the policies and the programs of your states. For example, recently Rajasthan came up with this M-SAND policy, but only Rajasthan students who are preparing for state services, they know that. But even the students who are preparing for UPSC, they might not be knowing that. But in interview, the question is M-SAN policy, and the reply from student is, I don't know about that. So you should not be in that condition, okay? So I want to make you everything aware about how your prelims will be, mains will be, and interview will be, so that your journey will be like going in a right way, and that you will be taking less amount of time and as well as less number of attempts. So it is your goal, okay? So now let us see here. So here you have to see about what are the Sundarbans, and you have to see what are the important features of the Sundarbans. And nowadays it is facing some challenges because of this climate change. So you have to see what are the challenges, and you have to know about Sundari trees. Sundari trees, and you have to see what is the way forward. So it is very important. Now let us see all these things now clearly. So about 154 species of birds, they were spotted during 3rd Sundarbans bird festival. So recently in this Sundarbans, they went for this bird festival, and in this festival around 154 species of birds, they were spotted. And the important aim of this bird festival is to count down AV fauna. AV means nothing but regarding birds. Okay, number of bird species. They are going for counting down of number of bird species. And the estimation exercise that had been started from Jan 22nd to Jan 26. And they recorded around 51 species of birds. They are migratory birds, and 103 species of resident birds. Resident birds are nothing but they live in that area. Migratory birds means during the seasons they will be come from another area towards this area. Okay, now let us see some basic facts. Sundarbans, they are the vast mangrove forest ecosystem in the coastal region of Bay of Bengal, and they spread in 2 countries, India and as well as Bangladesh, and especially on the delta of these rivers like River Ganga, River Brahmaputra, and River Meghna. So this will be also like a prelims question that can be framed by UPSC. So which of the following river deltas form Sundarbans? And then we gave you 4, like Indus, Brahmaputra, Ganges, Meghna, Kali, like that. So those are the 3 rivers which forms this Sundarban delta. That is Ganges, that is nothing but river Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Meghna. And it is one of the world's largest mangrove forest. And even this forest, one more specialty we can see here is even tigers are present in this mangrove forest. And we created Sundarbans Tiger Reserve in year 1973, and even it is designated as UNESCO's World Heritage Site in 1987. So these are some important things. And if you want to see here Sundarbans, so here we have the Sundarbans. So this is Bangladesh, this is India. And now let us see the next article. Assam tea workers prone to post-TB fungal disease, says study. So here TB itself is a disease, and after recovering from the TB, again these workers, they are getting infection from fungus. That is TB fungal disease. So now let us see this article. So this is nothing but tuberculosis and TB fungal disease. So this article is important from GS paper 3 under Science and Technology. Okay, here you have to see some facts regarding this TB, and you have to see facts regarding what is this fungal disease is about. So here from this TB facts, you can see what is this tuberculosis, whether it is a bacterial disease or viral disease. Obviously, it is a bacterial disease, bacteria which causes this disease, and the name of that bacteria is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and is affecting primarily the respiratory system. Apart from this respiratory system, we are also having extrapulmonary diseases. Even your kidney, your lungs, your eyes, your nose, everything can be infected by this TB. Okay, and next one here is we have treatment called as first line drugs, second line drugs to treat this TB. And normally if you are taking this first line and second line drugs, you have to take it for more than 1 year for sure. Okay, but recently we came up with one advancements in this treatment of TB, that is called as BPAR. So this BPAR is having more advantages compared to that of this primary and secondary line of drugs. That is, time period is just 6 months, and they are more effective, and there is less antimicrobial resistance to this B path. So because of this, we are going for this B path. And even government is providing a financial assistance of rupees 1000 rupees under this scheme. So I have to see like what are the schemes came up by the government to address this problem of TB in India. And even malnutrition is also an important thing, and how government is addressing this malnutrition, you have to know about that. And now let us talk about what is a TB fungal disease. So here 2 years after study, so finally this research paper found that, so after recovery from this TB in this Assam tea plantation workers, so they are getting a life-threatening fungal infection. And because of this fungal infection, it is damaging already damaged lungs by this tuberculosis. So because of this, it is causing further more life-threatening. So TB has been a major public health issue across tea belts in Assam, Brahmaputra, and as well as Barak valleys. So even one more important keyword you can find is tea. Tea is a cash crop of our country. So it requires certain temperature, certain humidity, and even the height is also very important because it cannot be grown in the plains. So it can be grown on this valley region as well as sides of the hills like that. Especially Karnataka, Kerala region is very much famous for this tea and coffee plantation. Apart from this South India, even in North also Assam is very much famous. So you have to see what are the geographical conditions which are required for the growing of tea. And even tea price is mainly controlled by Tea Board of India. So you have to say about what is this Tea Board, because in 2022 there was a question regarding Tea Board. And even you have to see how this pricing of tea will happen. For example, we have green tea in the market, we have normally very fine powder of tea, and in some tea powder we can see some granules like that will be there. So if you go to the tea shop, they will be asking chocolate tea, mix of tea, lamsa tea, like that. So you have to see different variations of tea that we can see in the market, and how the price variation will happen. So whether it is based on what components, you have to know about that. And because actually tea is an important drink in our country, it had not been originated in our country, but other country people like these Britishers, they introduced that. But even today in our country, so it became a national drink. Without that tea, no, not even a single person will be doing the work. So even as Salama, so even normally the students of this Ashok Nagar and students who are preparing for UPSC or any other competitive examination, they will have at least tea twice in their day. Okay, twice or thrice. Okay, so you have to see like which kind of tea and what is the component which is present in the tea that will give you present feeling, and how this tea will be helpful in your preparation. So all these things are there. And even I want to share one more experience as an interview panelist. So many students, they are keeping cooking as their hobby. Yes or no? So even because of lots of changes in our application also, you have to keep this hobbies initially, okay, in the first stage only. So earlier it was not like that. Earlier you will be filling your hobbies, everything in this DAF one, but now at the time of application itself they are asking. So one interesting question asked by one of the panelists is, yes, you said cooking, do you know how to make the tea? Okay, so there he asked about different types of tea available in the market and what is about the pricing of the tea. And he asked like which tea powder you will be using, like brand, Gemini, and answer they gave is like Red Label. Why only you chose Red Label, but in my family we'll use Gemini. So like that, they will be also asking you the question. So you have to be aware that which tea powder you are using for that, at least. Huh? So like that. So it is happening on reality. So you have to know at least some basic things. What is a tea pot at least using in your home before at least having the tea in your home? Let's just ask your mother like which tea pot you are using. Okay, why you are selecting that? So what is the difference between other powders and this powder? So try to explore that if you are a tea lover. Okay, so actually in that question, he asked like you said cooking. So what you cook? So I love having tea, sir. So I will be good at making tea. So because of that, the question which came. Yeah. So you must be very careful even before filling your hobbies. Okay, and now let's come back and let us see here. TB has been a major public health issue. Oh, sorry, TB has been a major public health issue across the tea belts in Assam, Brahmaputra, and as well as Barak valleys. So you have to say about some facts regarding this Brahmaputra river and as well as Barak river as well. And this article is saying that around 217 for every 1 lakh population, so they are having this disease, they are affecting with this disease. So especially there are some risk factors they had been identified in that survey. They found that poverty, poor nutrition, kitchen, smoke, etc. Okay, a team of researchers from Assam Medical College and Hospital in Dibrugarh, so they found that they are facing this chronic pulmonary aspergillosis. So here this TB fungal disease is aspergillosis, and it is caused by the fungus name called as Aspergillosis fumigatus. So Aspergillosis fumigatus, it is a fungus which is striking the individuals who had been recovered from this TB. Okay, so that is the thing which mainly said, and especially people from 41 years they are getting this, and especially middle-aged male workers, they are having more incidents compared to that of other people. Okay, now let us see the next article. India with Indonesia. So as I said, Indonesian president, he is a chief guest for our Republic Day parade. So you have to know about India-Indonesia relations. And the homework for you guys is, please try to open your atlas and see the location of Indonesia. And you have to see India and Indonesia, they are part of which groupings. Okay, now let us see here some facts. So if you say this India-Indonesia relations, so historically also we are having a very good relations. So India and Indonesia relationship which spans over 2 millennia, and we have deep culture and as well as deep historical ties. For example, Hinduism, sharing of Buddhism, and later Islam, they had been traveled from India to this Indonesia. So because of this, it also shaped culture and as well as religious landscape of India and Indonesia. So even in the epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata, which continue to influence Indonesian art and as well as folklore, so it is creating a unique culture connection. So if you see the defense and security cooperation, so India and this Indonesia, which have like long lasting defense relationship. So when it had been started in year 1951 itself, and at that time we also, after that we also came with lots of agreements between India and Indonesia. Some important key initiatives, like we have some joint military exercises, for example Garuda Shakti, we have Samudra Shakti, we have some coordinated patrols in Indo-Pacific region, and even we had good defense cooperation also between India and Indonesia. And even the trade is also good, going on good with Indonesia. And even with India and Asia also we are having the good trade. Okay, and if you see the imports and exports, so we are importing coal, crude palm oil, and rubber. So as you all know that during this festive season in October and November of 2024, so the prices of this palm oil had been increased because of increasing of demand, because of festival seasons in our country. So it also affected the export and import trade between this India and Indonesia regarding this palm oil. So you have to connect like this. Okay, and next one is, if you see our Indian exports, we are exporting refined petroleum. We are also providing some telecommunication equipment to this Indonesia, and even agriculture products, investments, and as well as connectivity also, we are having good ties. And even regarding culture and also education collaboration we had between India and Indonesia. So for example, so here we are celebrating International Yoga Day. Okay, and regarding education cooperation, so here we are providing lots of scholarship programs like ITEC, ICCR regarding India and Indonesia, regarding education institutions, etc. And even we are having multilateral cooperation like India and Indonesia, they are part of groupings like G20, Asia, and as well as in Asia, actually India is not part, but with Asia and India is having the good relations, and IORA, and even we are having like maritime security exercises and sustainable development, regional stability. In all these areas, we had good relationship with Indonesia. So you have to see all those things very clearly. Okay, so what are the developments are happening in the recent past? Also, you have to see. So these are the important topics that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much guys for watching, and please do like this class and share this class to your friends, and do subscribe to Rathods Academy. Don't forget.